Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, today is a jam-packed episode. I've got a finished object. I've got the body of one that's been on my needles for so long done. And all I've got to do on that one is the sleeves. I'm running a little experiment this upcoming week for the next episode, so I'll fill y'all in on that. I teased you a little bit last week, but I will be sure to tell you what I am going to be doing so that you will know what's coming up. I will share the other whips that I have on my needles, which let me tell you, there are a lot because, no surprise here, I got one off the needles and so I had to cast another one on. And then I have a little bit of non-knitty chatting that I'm going to do. I'll save that till the end. And then as usual, I have some acquisitions and I will cover these. I did not order all of these this week. Several of them just came in. And so I will tell you what I got. All right, if you are new here and you have not subscribed yet, I would very much appreciate a subscribe, a thumbs up, a comment, and of course if you've been here forever and you're subscribed, thank you for going along on this journey with me, and your support means more to me than you will ever know. All right, I am going to switch now, enough of the little mushy stuff and enough of the YouTube house cleaning, and I am going to tell you about my one finished object. I hinted last week that I would have this because I had the body done, and I do in fact have the Nallaig, I think that's how you pronounce it. That's how it shows in the pattern. I have the child's version done. I did it in this really cute blue. It's called Labradorite, I think it is, or Labradorite blue. I think that it's a jewel. I won't swear to that, but I'll put all of the information. Actually, let me cover this. I'm going to put all the information, but it's going to be at the top this time and from now on. We were having a conversation at the yarn store this week, and Elizabeth said, hey, you know, I know that you put all your information in the show notes and all that stuff, but I can't follow along with what's on the screen because since it's down here, I have closed caption turned on and it covers all of that up. So I'm going to move it up here so that everybody can see whether you have closed captioned on or not, because I know sometimes my accent can be a bit much, especially if you're not from the South. So I'm going to assume that some of y'all, if not a lot of y'all, have your closed captions on, and I'm going to start putting all of the information up here so it'll be across this beautiful, beautiful blue yarn. All right, so having said that, I will put the colorway name up here, but this is Variations by Friendly Products is the blue, and it's a superwash wool. It's 100% superwash merino. I have this left over from whenever I used to not really understand the differences in yarn, not really understand what I liked, and most of the places that I went, superwash is what you went for, and so I have a lot of superwash in my stash, and so I'm trying to use it up because I don't want to, you know, throw it away. Obviously, I don't want to throw it away, but these colors just speak to me, and I have friends who are having grandbabies. I don't have a grandbaby. This is not because I have a grandbaby coming that I'm knitting all of these. It's just they're really good little palette cleansers, and they're so fast. So, and I do have friends that have grandbabies coming, so I am getting ready, and my kids' friends are having babies, and I'm just getting ready to have a little closet or a little library, whatever you want to call it, of baby gifts that I can just go and get and give to people so that I don't have to spend time, you know, or be in a rush. I have things that are ready. So this will be one of them. And then this, I use the snowflake motif, and this is the Yarn Smiths. I believe it's like cream is the colorway, and it's the Yarn Smiths Superwash Merino in DK. Both of these are a DK version. This pattern is by Rebecca Clow. It is a test knit that I'm doing. And she has the children's size and adult sizes, and apparently she has a masculine and a feminine fit. So you could absolutely do this for your entire family and have matching sweaters. And if you want to have matching sweaters, but you don't necessarily want the same motif across, let's say that you've got, you know, a husband and a son and a daughter, and you and your daughter want to match, and your husband and your son want to match. She has several different motifs that go across. There's snowflakes, there's like Christmas trees, there's holiday lights, there's Hanukkah, the menorah. I had to stop and think about what that was called. She has that. She has several motifs that you could switch it up. There's a few different snowflake motifs, so you could absolutely do one for, you know, husband and son, and one for, you know, or father and son, one for mom and daughter, however you wanted to do it. It could be a lot of fun. Each one of you could wear something different. So it could be a lot of fun. And this pattern is going to be Rebecca's charity pattern this year. And so, as I said last week, when I find out for sure when it's being released, I will, the week before it is released, the episode before, I will tell you how to enter, and I'm going to give this pattern away to someone. So I will let you know, like I said, an episode or so before. I want to give it at least a week there so that I have time to gather, you know, people's responses, because some people don't have a chance to watch it right away. So I'll put it out there about a week to 2 weeks before it releases, and I'll tell you how to enter, and then I will draw, I'll do a random picker, and I will give this pattern away to somebody, because that way I will be able to participate. I typically try to buy her patterns to give to the charity. She supports the Fistula Foundation. So I will do that, and more to come later, and I might have to do a matching one of these in the 4 to 5 year old, so that my friends' grandbabies can have matching Christmas sweaters. We'll see. I just don't know if I'll have enough energy to do another one. And by December, she might be able to wear a 6-month. This is a 6-month, and she's being born in October. So I don't know. It might be a little bit big. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and talk about the kiddo things and then I'll switch to my other test knits. But I just wanted to talk about this real quick, because I said that, if I gave this away to my friend's grandbaby, the baby's being born in October. Well, she has a big brother who is, I think he's 4. So I have already knit the Moby sweater baby for the baby, and I did the 0 to 3 month. And then this is going to be the 4 to 5 year for big brother. And last week I had most of the back done. I had a few more rows to do. I did get it. It went over about a 1/4 inch. It's about 7 inches instead of 6 3/4. That 1/4 inch is not going to matter. He's a rough and tumble boy. He needs all the room. And so I got the left shoulder picked up. I got the front part of it worked before you join it. I will pick up the right shoulder and work on that and get it joined. And then it will be smooth sailing. It won't be hard at all. This is a really easy pattern. And this one, I did the Moby sweater baby. This is the Moby Sweater Junior, and it is by Petite Knit. I guess I should give you all of the information. And this is being knit out of Yarnsmith's Create DK, which is 100% acrylic, and it comes in a ball big enough that you can easily do a baby sweater out of it. You should be able to do a hat out of it, and it's very, very reasonable. I throw it in because I do order a lot of my drops from Wool Warehouse. So this is Wool Warehouse's in-store brand or in-house brand, and so I will just throw one of these in there, because I do try to take advantage of the weight that I can ship. Shipping from Wool Warehouse is around $5 to $6, and it can be 1.8 kilograms. So I'll throw one of these in, or 2 of these or something, if I'm looking to just feel some weight, so that I can make hats, or I can make, little baby clothes or whatever out of them. And they've got some really beautiful colors. All right, now switching to my test knits, and I'll start with the one that is due first, and I will also tell y'all a little bit about the experiment I'm going to run. This is the Mossridge by Sophie Hemmings, or not Sophie Hemmings, by Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl. All right, it is by the Knit Pearl Girl. Her first name is Sophie. I do not know what her last name is. I don't know why I keep trying to make one up. But this is the Mossridge. I have joined the front, and I am just, getting it to where that it is long enough, and then I will join it in the round. I will, you know, connect under here under the arms. The experiment I'm going to run is I am going to spend the next week, so it will be tomorrow morning. So tonight I'm not going to do this. I'm going to finish out my day like I have been. I'll work on some stuff. I'll probably switch back and forth between patterns and stuff tonight while I'm watching TV with my friend Shauna. But tomorrow morning, starting tomorrow morning, this is going to be my exclusive project that I work on until either my next podcast, and then I will finish that day out with this. So either I record on Wednesdays. So today is Wednesday the 12th. Until I go to bed on Wednesday the 19th. This is the only thing I'm going to work on, except when I go to the movies. Cameron and I are going to the movies more often. There's AMC over here has a thing where you can join. It's called A-Lister, and it's less than $25 a month by the time you add in taxes and all that stuff, and you can go see up to 4 movies a week. A week, not a month. So if you go to 2 a month, you've paid for it. And then there's some discounts on popcorn and stuff like that. And I am really enjoying, I like going to the movies. I like seeing them on the big screen, but I cannot afford $20 a ticket every time I go to the movies, and certainly not 4 times a week. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of yarn I could buy. So we went ahead and both bought that, and we are going to the movies with his best friend and her husband. And so we're going every Friday night, and we've seen Spider-Man. We went to Moana on Sunday. We're going to maybe Oak Street or something like that this Friday. Cameron went to see The Ice Cream Man. I had no desire to see that. But since we are going to the movies, I do have a project that I'm going to work on in the movies. I need something that's just straight stockinette. But if I am not in the movie theater, it has to be this. And I'm even going to say I'm going to take it in the car so that I can work on it in the car on the way over. If I'm not in the movie theater, it has to be this or nothing. So I'm going to report back, and what I will do is every day I will take a picture or do a small video of me sitting here showing you progress every single day. And I'll do it like at the same time after work. I will come in, I will take a picture or do a short video. And then at the end, I will talk about what my experience was. I used to be a monogamous knitter, and I don't remember why I switched, other than I had read something that said it gives your brain a way to, you know, focus on different things. You can pick up what you're in the mood for. Plus, I just want all of the projects. I want all of the sweaters and working on them a little bit at a time. I get so excited about, you know, seeing them take place. I'm not necessarily chasing, right? I'm not necessarily like, oh, I've got to get this off the needle so I can do this other thing. I'll just cast them on. I get so excited seeing the yarn grow into something, and I get so excited to wear it that I love having more than one on there. And, you know, I've been watching a Nudipy podcast. She is a viewer of mine, and it's Knit for Life Wellness. And I will link to her in the description. But she is a physical therapist that lives up in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island area. She's apparently right there on the border. And she has some really great tips. She's got an app as well. And she was talking about that by switching up patterns or even switching between knit and crochet, your brain is able to be, you know, it does something in your brain chemistry. There's something that goes on. And also because you're doing different patterns and stuff, your hands, you're doing things different, that also helps with your physical well-being. She put it a lot better than I did. But those are my excuses, right, to cast on multiple things. But I am going to go back to being a monogamous knitter this 1 week and see how I feel at the end of it. Did I get bored? Did I really, really want to work on something else and I felt like I was being punished? Did I spend more time on my phone because I didn't want to work on this? You know, what was my experience? Or do I get this entire sweater done in a week and I'm like, oh, I need to be monogamous again so I can knock all these out? I doubt very seriously that will happen, but who knows, right? Maybe I become more of a hybrid knitter where when I get something close to being done, I do become monogamous on that and I get that to the finish line. And then up until I get something close, I'm going back and forth. And so I'm a, you know, polygamous knitter or whatever, whatever we're calling it, right? That I have multiple things. We'll see. I think it'll be a fun little experiment, and I will do my podcast next week. It'll be a little bit different because I'll obviously have several different little videos to put together. It'll be more like a vlog, but I will do an opening statement and kind of tell you and show you where I'm at. And then I'll put things on there. And we'll see if it'll just be pictures and I'll just talk through it, or if I'll do little videos. It really depends a lot on how much I get done each day. And then I'll have a little wrap up at the end. I should not have any acquisitions, so that should not even play into it. All right. Again, Mossridge by the Knit Pearl Girl. And the yarn that I'm using is, this is Ba Ramu Wood Note, which is a Masham, I think it's a Masham BFL. I have to look. It's either Masham BFL or Masham and Merino. And it is just really, really pretty. I won't come back and tell you, but I might put a little note down there that says, or actually I'll put a note right here that says what it is. It's either Masham and BFL or Masham and Merino. I just don't remember. But it is a really, really nice, squishy, soft, you know, even without blocking it, without washing it, there's just a hint of a prickle factor that will go away whenever it's blocked. And this is going to become absolutely next to skin soft. And I'm very excited about this. And the colorway in this is Fox. I'm oh so close to getting it joined in the round. So I have a feeling I might really enjoy, because once I get this joined in the round and I get past this moss stitch, which I will tell you, I'm so done with moss stitch and ribbing. And oh my gosh, it is killing me. And I know that y'all in the UK call it the double moss stitch, but we just call it moss stitch here because what y'all call moss stitch, we call seed stitch. So I will probably use moss stitch and double moss stitch interchangeably, and that is why. But I am so done with seed stitch, moss stitch, double moss stitch, ribbing. I will be happy to get this joined in the round so that I can get back some good old cables. But for now, I am still working the moss or the double moss, whichever one you want to call it, until I get it further along. All right, now my next test knit is very exciting because it is cables. And I did get the back completed. It's completely done. The back is done. And you'll see, you might be going, why is it all funky like that? Well, it's because I picked up the which side? I have picked up over here. I have picked up the shoulder, and because I haven't come back to here, it's pulling this cable. I tend to do mine where you do the back and then you have to pick up the shoulders and then you join it in the round. I tend to do that on a long needle that I can just use to join in the round at the end so that I don't have to have multiple needles hanging. This one is a little exception. I didn't use a long enough needle at the back, so I do have 2 needles on this. But I tend to just use 1 needle. And like I said, I got the back done. I've got the honeycomb. I have the beautiful big cable, the small cables, you know, the 2x2s. They're just absolutely beautiful. And then you can barely tell, but that right there is the start of the left shoulder. So it will eventually, you know, if this will sit back here and this part will come down here. So I think I've done 3 rows. So not very much, but I have. I did do 6 rows on the back to get the back completed, and then I've done a few rows up here. And this is by Stitches and Stem, Michaela from Stitches and Stem. She has a podcast, and this is the Aiden sweater test. And she is just amazing. She designed this for her grandfather. It's patterned after a sweater she had that was her grandfather's that unfortunately moths got into. And so she has recreated it and has put it out there, and it is just beautiful, absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to get this done, and I am knitting this out of Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the colorway Ballerina. This, oh, I love pink. I love a really pale pink or really saturated hot, you know, in your face pink. Those are my 2 favorite colors, and this just lends itself so well. Look at how pretty the stitches are in this. Now I will tell you, the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, I hear people say, oh, it's not as soft as the merino, it's not as soft as that, I don't know that I like it, it's rustic feeling. I don't think it's rustic, I think it's dry. And think that it is along the same lines as Durarum Natura Gilead and Wool Dreamers Moda. All three of these yarns to me have kind of that same feel. They're kind of bouncy. They're a little bit dry, but if you look, I have some Wool Dreamers Moda here because I'm knitting something out of it, and you can see those look a lot alike. And if you hold them and feel of them, they feel a lot of alike as well. So I think that they just have kind of the same properties. I like this yarn. This yarn is next to Skin Soft for me. If you're sensitive, it may not be for you, but you can always put a t-shirt on under it, or you could do a cardigan instead of a pullover. She does not have a cardigan in this, but I would think, you know, the Billy cardigan would be really nice. It's got a lot of the honeycomb in it. So if you're looking for something similar in a cardigan, because you couldn't wear knitting for Olive, Heavy Merino, or Moda, or any of that next to Skin, Billy cardigan might be a really good substitute, and it is by Sari Nordland. But this is my test knit by Stitches and Stem, Michaela from Stitches and Stem, and it is just going swimmingly, but I won't work on it this week unless I get done with the Mossridge. Then I would work on this, but next week is Mossridge only. And it really saddens me because I am so close to the finish line on this, guys. It is done. The body is done. It is so, so pretty. I put it on. There are not a lot of things that I put on and that when I put them on, I feel beautiful. This is one of those things. I put this on. It is just fitted enough that I have curves. I feel like that I see my weight loss when I put this on. When I put this on last night, it was magical. I felt beautiful. And that's not something I feel a whole lot in my life. Just because you get in your head, right? And you see yourself differently than everybody else sees you. But this is one that it really did make me feel beautiful. And so I did the body, and I will tell you, I did the collar before I finished off the body. And the only reason that happened was this is made out of, well, and let me tell you what this is and who it's by first. This is the Bookclub Raglan. And this is by Sari Nordland. It's part of her book club series. She's got a cardigan, a drop shoulder, and this raglan. And it is so, so pretty. And I'm knitting this out of, this is a dead stock yarn that I got at Woolly Yarn. And it is the colorway Demi-Tasse, and it's just 100% merino. It's a DK. Normally, I would not do the collar first because it is on a cone, and that is, it's both an advantage and a disadvantage to a cone yarn, is that you don't have all these ends to weave in, but you don't usually do like the sleeves and the collar first. And I like to do the sleeves and the collar first, but I'm not going to break my yarn to do it. But for whatever reason, I don't know if this was one of those that came on two large cones and they had like two really large cones of it and they were at the bottom. I don't know, but there was a knot in the middle, not in the middle, because I've only got 250 grams or so left. So there was a knot in it that I came up on, and it wasn't like a really nicely tied knot that you would expect from a factory knot. I usually pick those out too and just have ends to weave in. But this was just like we're just going to tie this together so that we can put it on there. And so there was no question that I was taking that off. And because of the fact that I was going to have to take that off anyway, I decided to go ahead and do the collar first. And this collar is just really, really pretty. It's a folded collar. I really like it. She has you bind it off loosely and then has you do a whip stitch and whip it, you know, just stitch it down. It's really, really pretty. It looks a little funky right here right now just because I blocked this top part and now I've put something on not blocked. So I need to get that blocked, and then it will fit differently too whenever the sleeves get on because it will pull this. I was a little worried that the neck was too tight, but I put it on, and whenever I move my shoulders out a little bit, it fits just beautifully. I was gonna say I was gonna put some footage up of me wearing it, like a picture or something, but I really want to wait until I get the sleeves so that you can get the full effect. But it is oh so close. it would be done next week if I was not running that experiment. So it also will be put to the wayside. But oh, isn't it pretty? But look at all this moss. All this moss stitch. All this seed stitch. I am so done with knit pearls. Just saying. Can't wait to get down to where I'm in the round and doing gables. All right. And speaking of what else I'm working on, well, actually, let me show you what is going to be my exception to the Mossridge only. And that is because this will be my theater knit. And I did take this last week. And I got quite a bit done. But can I tell you where? No, because I did not put a progress keeper in place last week before we went to the movies, like a dum-dum. So this week, and I thought I had already done it, but apparently I did not. This week, I'm going to put a progress keeper down here so that on Friday, whenever I go, I will be able to see how much I got done. And I'll be able to report back how much I can get done in a couple of hour movie. Now, this week will be a little bit less than it was last week when I got the body of the Nallaig done. Because I'm going to have popcorn this week. I didn't have any, or no, I did last week. Or Sunday when I knit on this, I didn't have any popcorn. So I'm not buying popcorn every single time because they'd get really expensive too. But I'll buy it, you know, a couple of times a month or something. But love movie theater popcorn. You can't go to the movies without it, right? Well, you can, but woo, love movie theater popcorn. But I didn't put one on there. I'm going to put one on this week before I do it so that I can see how much I can get knit during a movie so that I can make plans and plan accordingly. And I guess I should tell you more about this other than it's just my theater knit. This is the Soul Mosaic Tee, and it's by Claudia Quintanilla. It is a pattern that I got for free because I went to, and the yarn. I got the pattern and the yarn for free as part of the Fruity Knitting retreat in Costa Rica. And this is, well, I got part of the yarn for free. I got the cream for free. This is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. I also got a ball of black mohair for free. But, as I always say, it is too hot here because we have days like today where it feels like that we are walking on the surface of the sun. It is officially 96 degrees outside, which translates to like 35.5 Celsius. So, it is hot, and we're going to get up to over 100. It's not going to be as bad as my brother this next week. It's going to be 108 real temperature, so that's like 42 Celsius. So, it's hot. I'm not putting mohair. That would limit me to not being able to wear this in the dead of summer. I am going to wear this in the dead of summer. I know right now, today, I don't have one on, but it is really hot out there. And I already had this t-shirt on, and I didn't want to expend the energy of changing clothes, is what it really boils down to. And I also really like that, you know, if I can't take my yarn, I'm not going. I like this. This is what I travel in whenever I get on the airplane. I have a sweatshirt that says it too, because when I'm on the airplane, my yarn is going with me, and if it can't, well, all bets are off. All right. So, again, this is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, and this is the colorway. I want to say this is cream. I could be wrong, but it's an off-white. I'll put the colorway down there. And then this is navy blue. And I did buy the navy blue because I was not putting mohair in here, so I just got a cotton merino in the navy blue. All right. So that will be my theater knit this next week. This one right here, I spent some time on, and I didn't get a ton done, but I did decide that I did move my, my shoulder, or my underarms. They were going to be like right here. That is not long enough. I had Cameron hold it up to me, and I have moved my underarms to there. Now, I can always change my mind whenever I go to stitch it together, right? Because it's just a triangle, and I'll just decide whenever I get it there. But I want the longer one. I want like a 21 to 23 inch. I don't want it to be short. I don't want it to be the 19 inch. So I think that I just have to have it a little bit longer. And this is the Skyline by Yumiko Alexander. And I am using her yarn, which is Dando Linen. And boy, is it fantastic. This is a big gauge. I am knitting this on size US 9s or 5.5 millimeters. And she says this is a worsted weight. I don't know. I think that I would probably knit this on like a US 6 or a 4mm and get the fabric that I really want. And I will do that because I would like another shirt out of this that's not see-through, right? Because I do think that that's going to be where I have to wear something under it even after it's blocked. This is just beautiful. The colorway of this is Sapphire. It is one of the nicest linens I've ever worked with. So I'm really looking forward to what this is going to look like. And it's very, very easy. The hardest thing about it is making sure that your stitch marker doesn't move and that your yarn overs stay where they're supposed to. But it's not that hard to figure that out. And it's just a really, really nice knit. And it's just back and forth. And you make 2 of these and then you sew them together. I haven't decided yet for sure if I'm going to make sleeves or not. A lot of it will depend on how much yarn I have left. But I do think I kind of would like to have sleeves because I think I could wear it longer. I could wear it in the spring and in the fall and in the early days of summer. Maybe not in the dead of summer with sleeves, but that's okay. All right. Then next up, I have the Tain sweater, which I didn't get a whole lot done, but I did get finished with the first round of Raglan increases. There is now a different rate. And so I'm working on that because now what you do is you increase for both the body and the sleeves, then you do an increase on only the body. And then there's even another one where it's different than that. I'm not going to give too much away because it is a paid for pattern. And I am just in that second part. I have to repeat the rows 4 times and I've done 1. So I won't have, you know, a whole lot of this done unless I do just whip through that Mossridge. But I am slowly but surely getting it there. And since it was the bane of my existence at the beginning, I'm very, very excited that it is all now just making sense. And I'm just going along with no problem. And I cannot wait to wear this. It is a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It is by Rebecca Clow. It's out of the 52 Weeks of Sweaters. But I did see that it has been released back to her. And she is working on making the short rows easier, which is the part that I freaked out about. And I think a lot of people did because I did get several people comment that, oh yeah, no, that was really hard. Or, you know what, I just put it down and decided I couldn't do it. Well, she is going to make that easier. I have no idea if she, you know, if you proved that you own the 52 Weeks of Sweaters, if she would send you an update to it. I have no idea. None whatsoever. I am not speaking for her. But, you know, if it's really that bad, maybe you reach out and ask her and prove to her. I don't know. It wasn't that bad. I am also very much willing to help you figure out the short rows if you want to ping me. Because once you figure those out, everything else is smooth sailing. Once I got through the short rows, it was like, well, yeah, this isn't hard at all. It's just a raglan. So now I'm just booking along and you can see, look, you can see the sleeves. I have sleeves. So I'm very excited about that. I really am looking forward to splitting for sleeves. But again, this one will have to wait as well. And this is the Tain by Rebecca Clow, as I said, and I'm knitting it out of the suggested yarn, which is Wool Dreamers Moda, and I really, really like this yarn a lot. A lot. I would like to get some more in different colors. I really, really like it. All right, so there is that. Then I have another, and that's a buddy knit with my friend Marla. I have another buddy knit here that, you know, it's another one of those that, yeah, I'm bringing up the rear. Leah podcasted this week. She is done with her soft current. It looks fabulous on her. She did a little bit of a modification on the sleeve. I really like that. I probably won't do that modification just because this yarn is not as drapey as that yarn. But she did hers in Solo Lino. I need that yarn now. It's absolutely beautiful. And the way it drapes on her and looks on her, it is so, so pretty. If you're at all on the fence on doing this sweater, don't be, because this lace is so much easier than it looks. The lace and the cables. I have not picked up the pattern since I've been like up here. I just read my knitting and I know it's a 4-row repeat, and I know I do 4 rows every time I pick it up, so that I know when I pick it up, I'm on a pattern around. And I know I need to do cables and lace, and then the next 3 are just knitting. And it is a pattern round, but I'm not doing the cables or the lace. It's solid. And I work the 4 and then I put it down, and you can see I've gotten quite a bit done. I don't need a progress keeper on this because the difference between the unblocked and the blocked is very, very obvious here, because this is Holst Garn, super soft in the colorway Cranberry, and it has spinning oil on it, and it is just, there's a line of demarcation there from where it's been blocked and washed and where it has not. And this is the Soft Current Sweater. I keep wanting to call it a tee, but it's the sweater by Woolen Pine. Beautiful. I want the tee in this as well. This is really, really pretty, and it has been a really fun knit. It's very engaging. And I am holding the Holst Garn double. And another cone. I have several cones going on, and in fact, one more cone, because could I resist? No. I bought this woolly knit cherry red British wool a few weeks ago. Well, it was longer than a few weeks ago. It was back in July when they did their 4th of July special where they shipped to the United States for free up to 2 kilograms. I only bought this one. Dumb me. But I only bought this one. And it has been talking to me. And I do mean talking to me ever since I have picked it up. And it kept saying, you need to pair me with the Holst Garn Lucia. We would go really well together, and look how well that goes together. And I have been wanting to cast this on. I thought I was going to do a Monday sweater, but I actually decided to do a no frills because I've been wanting to do that for a while. It's not that much different than the Monday. I mean, it has a single raglan stitch there instead of 3, and I think there may be some other differences, but I really love petite knit patterns. I like a nice, solid, like, excuse me, a classic to go in my wardrobe so that I don't have to think about how to style it, and I don't have to have somewhere fancy to go to wear it. And I realized, because the little red sweaters for the kids have been really talking to me, and I realized I don't have a red sweater in my, I have red sweaters, but not a red handmade sweater in my wardrobe. So I needed this. I needed this. So I cast it on. Just cast it on like, I don't know, Friday or something like that. Oh, look at how much I've already gotten done. It's another one of those really fun, it's a raglan, it's a quick knit, and boy, I need to put some stitch stoppers on here before I lose stitches. But it's just a raglan, so it's a really quick knit. You do like you do with every other one, but I did do a different cast on. It calls for the Italian cast on. That has been the bane of my existence. It's really hard for me to do, and it's really fiddly, and we were talking in the yarn shop earlier that, oh my gosh, Dana and I were talking about this. It took us forever to get that done for the Edinburgh sweater we did together. And we sat over at Jordan's house on New Year's, I think it was, and we were casting on, and we were just fussing about it. And Jennifer sitting there was like, oh, that is my favorite cast on. I love doing it. And she told us to check out the alternating cast on, which I did do. And I think that it looks a lot like the Italian cast on. It's very stretchy. It's got a really, really pretty edge there, and I really like it. So I now, if it calls for an Italian cast on, I may do the alternating cast on. And there's some good videos out there. You can just Google it. I really like it. So I did that, and then I just did, you know, of course, this is not a folded collar. The Monday has a folded collar. I just did the ribbing, and then you do some short rows, then you do the raglans, and I don't know what you do from there, but I'm sure it's just like any other raglan. And yes, I know I could just do these, but I don't want to. I'm at the stage of my life where I just want you to tell me. Now, if I need to make some adjustments, I will, right? Because, for instance, I'm going to probably do a larger size sleeve in this because it's a bit of a fitted sleeve, so I'll probably pick up for the next size. The other one, the Bookclub, I can think. The Bookclub Raglan, I'm going to actually just use a larger size. I went up 1 needle size for the body. I'm going to go up another needle size to a size US 6 or 4 millimeter to do the sleeves because I don't want them fitted. And I will try it on as I go to make sure, because if I need to rip back, then I always can. I'll put a lifeline in. Or probably what I'll do is I'll probably leave the waist yarn on there and not take it off as I knit it. And then that way, if I need to rip back, I can rip back to that. And then I can, you know, go up another needle size or pick up more or whatever. cast on, pick up some more under here, whatever I need to do, but it should be fine. But those, I'll make some little modifications, but at this stage of my life, I really want a pattern. I don't want to have to figure out math. I just don't. So I use pattern, and I also like supporting designers, whether they're small, big, or in between. I enjoy being able to support independent business women, especially. I'll support male pattern writers as well, but independent business people. How about that? All right, so that is that. And that is all I've got. And I didn't show y'all my stitch stoppers. I forgot. And I do have some new ones that y'all haven't seen. And oh, one of them just came off because I just lost some stitches. Let me get these back on before I really lose them. The good news about Holsgarn is it does tend to, stay right there. And so the tiger's all the way over there. Hang on. Let me grab that and grab the ball of yarn that just went over it. Again, making sure I don't have a bald spot. If I do, let me know. But I got these little tigers on here, and these are so, so cute. I haven't shown these before. They're just adorable. So I've got the little tigers there. Most of these I don't have any, and the yarn, I'm just going to put this down here and let the yarn just stay there. But most of these, I have shown before. These are the little goats. And a lot of these I'm still in the flat phase, so I don't have stitch markers. These are my Harry Potters, probably my very favorite stitch stoppers. I love Harry Potter, so I really, really like that. And then, of course, this one, I don't have anything on it. This is flat. This is flat. This is flat. And this is done. So that's it for the stitch stoppers. All right, so I'm going to do a little chat about non-nitty stuff real quick before I go to acquisitions, so that if you're interested in this, but you don't want to hang around for the acquisitions, you can hang for this. So a couple of things. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was, I talked last week about mammograms, and I did put my money where my mouth is. I practiced what I preached, and I went and had my yearly one done yesterday. So hopefully all is well, but I did go do it. I do encourage you to do it. It does save lives. I know a lot of women who have breast cancer, and the reason that they're still here is because it was detected early. But having said that, male health is equally important. And there is a cancer that I always, whenever I think of breast cancer for women, I think of prostate cancer for men. And my dad had prostate cancer. He was a prostate cancer survivor. So it is another one of those that is near and dear to my heart because it was detected early. They were able to save his life, because most prostate cancers are slow, but just like breast cancer, but there are some that are not. And unfortunately, my cousin's husband, who was diagnosed at the same time, did not survive. So it does, even though we think it's, oh, it's just prostate cancer, it's not just prostate cancer. And there's more to that as well with prostate health. I have a friend, I'm going to not name any names. I'm not going to tell you who it is that's my friend. I'm not going to tell you the husband's name. I'm just going to say that one of my friend's husbands had to have some prostate surgery done. He didn't have prostate cancer, but he had some prostate surgery. And I was talking to him, and he was like, oh, it's wonderful. I know when I leave the bathroom, my bladder is empty now. I don't have a partner, so I don't have a husband or a fiance or a boyfriend or whatever, any kind of a partner. I do have sons, but they're both under 40, so they're not recommended to get like the PSA or any prostate exams or anything yet. So this is just not top of mind. So whenever I heard this, and I was having a conversation with him, and I said, you know what? I really need to talk about this on my podcast, since I just did a thing on mammograms, because men's health is just as important as women's health. And so if you have a partner and they need to be having prostate exams, please encourage them to go get it done, because early detection does save lives. And my dad's life was saved because the doctor, even though his PSA, and I hope that doctors do not just, depend on that PSA level, because my dad's was normal, but it was on the high side of normal. And he had an old school doctor, and he's like, nobody likes this, but I think we should do an exam. And he did an exam, and he said, it's probably your age, but I'm going to be safe. I'd rather be safe than sorry. He sent him to the urologist. The urologist also went, it's probably age related, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Let's go ahead and do a biopsy. And guess what? It was cancer. And it was a fast growing cancer. So it probably would have killed him if the doctors had not been safe. So just saying, encourage your men to go and get checked. And now I will get off of the health topic, but I did want to do that because I don't ever want anybody to think, oh, well, you know, it's only women's health, because it's not. We should be concerned for everybody's health. Now, the other, it's kind of a non-nitty topic, but it's kind of a nitty topic as well, is if y'all go watch Leah's podcast, she has changed how she's knitting and stuff, and she's really reflected on being obsessed. And we've been talking about this, about, you know, chasing things, like feeling like that she's trying to chase the next project and feeling pressured to get a project done. Hers is not because she's comparing herself to other people and how much they get done. This was internally what she was doing to herself. I'm very lucky. That's not why I knit so much. I knit so much because I really do get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I love wearing my knits. I get excited to see the things grow. It's not pressure. If I ever feel like it's not fun and I feel pressured, I won't do it. And if I ever feel like that YouTube is, you know, I feel like I'm pressured because I have a YouTube channel, I'll stop podcasting. But I don't think that that's going to happen because I really, really love it. But it did lead me to think about, we compare ourselves to people so much. And I knit a lot. I knit fast. I get a lot of projects done. I'm a prolific knitter. A lot of people make comments about that. I'm in a very different stage of my life than a lot of people are. No, I'm not retired, but I've shared, I don't have a partner. So I don't have anyone else to, you know, put time towards. I have 2 sons who are grown. Yes, Cameron lives with me, but he's a grown man and he doesn't spend a lot of time, you know, with me. He has a life of his own. And so, you know, he is disabled, but that doesn't mean that he can't do anything. So he has friends, he goes and does things, he, you know, has things, his own interest and everything else. So I am in a phase of my life where I don't have a lot of things that I need to focus on. And I do get a lot of knitting done. And I buy a lot of yarn. I have also realized that while I've always bought a lot of yarn, and I've always been kind of like, it's been, oh, I want to buy this yarn and this yarn is on sale, and so I'll do like a big purchase, and then I won't buy anything again for a while, except for whenever I lived in San Antonio and I was at the yarn shop every single week and I bought every single week. And I did that here too some. But since I got fired last year, since I got laid off, my buying has escalated. And I have finally, I've kind of reflected a little bit, and I realized that the reason why is because it triggered a fear in me. I shared on my drops video where I had had times in my life where I watched my son eat the last food in the house while I was hungry. Luckily, I had parents that I could go to their house and they fed me and stuff, but I remember being insecure about where my next meal was coming from. And so I think that kind of scarred me a little bit. And so when I got laid off and I realized, oh my gosh, I won't be able to buy yarn, I may not be able to afford my house, I may not, when I got the next job and I'm financially secure and it's all okay, I think it just triggered something in me like, oh, I need to buy all the yarn now while I still can. And that's not healthy either. I have decided that I'm going to give myself till the end of the year to buy whatever I want to, and then I'm going to reevaluate. So, but all of this to say, we are all in different places of our lives. We're all on different journeys. We all have different financial obligations and resources. We all have different knitting abilities. We have different time that we can spend on our knitting. We have, you know, maybe some of us have pain and so we don't knit as much, but never, ever, ever compare yourself to anybody else. That is not what it's about. And I will tell you that I do think that social media has really, really contributed to a lot of the problems that we see in society with people having anxiety and stuff like that, because nobody takes a picture of their mess and puts it on social media. No, everything's curated and it's pretty, and you see what, you see what they want you to see. Their lives aren't perfect. But what we get on social media shows perfection. So don't look at anything that I'm doing and think that you should be knitting as much or that you should be buying as much. I know I laugh and say I'm an enabler, and I probably never will say, oh, you should not buy that yarn. But I will ask, and this is what my best friend, this is what Michelle asked me whenever I'm like, oh, taught me how to buy this yarn. Are your bills paid? Can you afford to buy the yarn? Right? Are you jeopardizing something else by doing this? Okay. Then the rest is up to you. Do you want it or not? But, you know, if you come to me and ask if you should buy the yarn, I'm going to ask you, are your bills paid? If you tell me yes, and that yes, you can afford it, you might not need it, but you can afford it, then I'm probably going to say buy the yarn and where is it at, because I might want some too. All right, so getting off the serious subjects, now I'm going to turn to the acquisitions because I bought more yarn. Some of it I told you last week I had ordered from Husqvarna, and it just wasn't here yet. And this Husqvarna takes forever. Somebody that was, I think they're in Georgia, said, oh, that was so fast. It only took a week. I'm like, oh my gosh, my Husqvarna always takes at least 2 weeks, sometimes longer. And it's because I swear to you, I order so much from them that I swear to you that these, you know, customs agents are like, it cannot possibly just be yarn. The dogs need to sniff it, that we need to keep it, and the dogs need to sniff it every day, because what if there's something that's masking the odor? I would bet you that there are conversations going on, because I do order a lot. So that's my theory anyway. It's probably not true, but it's fun to think about. But I did finally get my Husqvarna order, and I've told y'all over and over, Tides is being discontinued. This is probably my favorite color in Tides, and this is the turquoise. So I decided when there was one cone left that I had to pull the trigger, and they sent me this in another ball because they said this was a little light. I don't think it was, but whatever, I'll take it. And then another cone did show up, so the person who was wanting to buy it that I kind of bought out from under them, they were able to get it, so I was glad about that. But I got this cone, so now I have enough to do at least one more sweater, maybe two, because I've got some balls that I ordered already, and I've got another partial cone as well. So I have enough to do whatever I want to with this. And then I also got Winterberry, and this is really pretty. I was afraid that it was going to look a lot like maroon, and it doesn't. It's pinker than maroon, but it's not quite as pink as like fuchsia and orchid. So I was glad that I got this. I may find a mohair to hold with it, or I may just hold this double. I got 7 balls of this. I didn't buy a cone because I didn't want to pay the next up in shipping. And 7 balls at 287 meters or 314 balls or 314 yards. That is like 2,200 yards. That is plenty to make a cabled sweater if I want to. You know, and I can hold it double most likely. So if they still have any of this color left when Black Friday rolls around, and I might get some, we'll see. But for now, I'm happy with that. And then I told you I had bought a D-stash as well, and this is Taki yarns, and this was made in Ireland. This is Irish wool, and it is 50% wool, 50% alpaca, and it is Kerry. And this will just become, I think, I've narrowed it down to like the Franken sweater, the step-by-step sweater, or there was one other one, and I forget, that I had narrowed it down to like 3 that I really was interested in doing, and that I have enough yardage of this for. It's just a really, really pretty. I like this deep dark purple. And so that will become, you know, one of those. And then I want to talk real quick. Well, I'll save that one for last. I'll tell you real quick, if you've seen my little short, you've already seen that I got yarn from Yarn Atelier, and I got several things. This is a beautiful, beautiful mohair. This is really, really pretty. And I will tell you, Conan Fiber also has it here in the United States in this color, if you don't want to have to worry about like paying tariffs, that being figured into the price, or figuring out if you can get free shipping or whatever. Conan Fiber does have it, but this is a mohair. This is a 70-30, I think it is. It may be 75-25, but I think it's 70-30, and it's a Camelot mohair. It's just a really pretty burgundy color. And then I got these 3 are just 100% merino, and this color, and I could tell you exactly, they did come with these things. I'm not going to probably find the colors, but this is a pretty red, and I actually have this already in stash. That is it's called Baby Silk Lace by Krimka Soul. It's now just Krimka Yarns, and it is, it's color 2996, but I'm looking to see, I think this is a a Surrey alpaca. Let me look and see what this is. Yeah, it's 70% alpaca, 30% silk. So it's a silk alpaca. And I think those two would go well together. I may swatch it because this seems a little bit brighter than this. I don't want to dull that color down, but I may swatch with it. I thought that that might go really well together. And then I've got two more in this 100% merino. One of them is this cobalt. I mean, none of these should be a surprise to you. I have a type. Pink, blue, red, hunter green. I got this cobalt blue. And I got this red. So, I got those three in 100% merino. And then I got a linen. This is 100% linen. And it is in the cobalt colorway. And I saw somebody had knitted up with one of the other ones that they had a different color. And it was knitting up really pretty. So I'm really excited to work with this next year. And then I got, this one is a 50% silk, 50% merino. And it is this pretty, pretty orange color. I really can't wait to make a sweater out of this. And it is a fingering weight. And then finally, last but not least, I got another alpaca. And this one I will look at because I want to tell you what the percentages are. Yeah, the kid mohair is 75-25. This is, it's called Idle Royal Touch, and it's a 62% alpaca, baby alpaca, 38% silk. This is really nice, and this would be a mohair alternative. And I did buy it because I want to make like a cream color, maybe a cabled sweater held with a fluff, but I want to have, you know, a really pretty texture of some sort in cream. So that's what I bought that for. And then I told y'all before that I had bought some quads, and I've seen several people talking about quads and talking about ergonomic knitting and all that. And I told y'all I was going to do a review on the quads, and then I never did. And this is the Chalgu quads. I have to be honest, these hurt my hands. I can't knit with them for very long. I don't know why. I don't know if they're too square or just what, but they do bother my hands. And it's not all squares that do that, because I have these collage needles that I have several of, and these I can knit with forever, and I really, really like these. These actually really helped me with my tension and helped me become a little bit of a looser knitter, so that I wasn't so tight that I had to go up 2 needle sizes to hit gauge, and that I had trouble getting the needle through. So that, and then there's these other ones that I really like. These are Priams. They're not completely square. They are a little bit. There's some squareness at the top, but they're kind of a 3-sided. So they're not quads. And they are really nice. You can find these at Michael's, but I think they only have one length of the cord. And then I've seen them overseas. So I don't remember where I got them first. I think I was in Minnesota somewhere at a local yarn store when I saw them and decided I wanted to try them. And I'll be honest, because they're plastic, I don't use a lot of plastic, but they're purple and white, and that's why I bought them. They also have crochet hooks that are ergonomic. All right, and then the last thing I want to talk about, because y'all, I have such wonderful, wonderful viewers. Y'all are the sweetest people that have ever lived. Because I told y'all a couple of weeks ago that Lydia had reached out to me and said that she had, you know, that Knit Picks had mistakenly sent her extra yarn, and so she had extra yarn. She told me, I think it was 5. I think I've got 6 and some scraps, but I definitely have enough to make a t-shirt out of. And that is out of this Comfy in the color, I think it's Grape Jam. No, it's Lilac. It's Lilac. But it is a cotton acrylic blend. I cannot wait to get this on my needles. It is so pretty and it's so soft. And then, and I have to tell you, I was expecting this. She had reached out and told me, I mean, obviously she had to get my address, but she had reached out and told me that she was sending this, wouldn't let me pay the shipping or anything else. And so when I opened it and I saw this, oh, you should have been here. The squealing commenced, because I love Friends Cotton Silk. This is Hobby Friends Cotton Silk, and this colorway, this is Sapphire. Oh, she sent me 4 of these. That is really, really close to being enough for a t-shirt for me, so I might have to get a couple more, but I'll do that Black Friday. I was already going to order this anyway. Oh, I'm so excited. I might get enough to make long sleeves, because then the 4 could be the sleeves, so it won't be so noticeable if they are different dye lots. But look at that. I squealed. I was hollering. I was so excited. She had knitted her Tolsta out of this, and I was like, oh, that is so pretty. I have a type. I have a type. If, you know, if we were talking about guys, there would definitely be a type that I was attracted to. But I have a type. I have colors that I really, really love, and this is one of them. And then she also sent me a nice little note with it that she just says, you know, hi there, Melissa. Enjoy the yarn. I remembered I had some of the Sapphire Hobby to spare also, and I overbought, I guess. Happy knitting, and thanks for your fun videos. So how exciting is that? I just can't tell you how much I feel like the Grinch, except for my heart wasn't too small. I feel like that my heart's just growing and growing. The nice comments y'all send me when things like this happen. I mean, these are things that just, they melt me, because I do this because I have so much fun and I wanted to build a community, and we do have a community going on. We do have a chat group. I'll stick a little QR code up here and a link in the description if y'all want to join the chat group. It's a lot of fun. We do, warning, we will enable you to buy patterns and do test knits and buy yarn and all of that. So if you're easily influenced and cannot control yourself, this might not be the group for you. But it is a lot of fun, and we share finished projects, we share what we're working on, and we just support each other. So thank y'all again for being such a great, great community and making me feel oh so loved. And with that, I am going to sign off, and I hope until I see y'all again that y'all have a fabulous knitty